like how I was saying, the corporate strategy focuses on the overall or is guided by the overall direction of a corporation and how to manage its business effectively. One thing about corporate strategy is it defines the goals of the organization clearly. That's talking about the long-term vision, as we rightly said, that vision is futuristic. And it actually, the process involves first seeking the corporate value. You equally have to understand what values, what are the examples of values, how values are coined, okay, of an the values of organization are coined, okay, and well, corporate strategy, don't let us miss that. Corporate strategy will always be a continuous process, okay, continuous process with constant efforts to engage the investors, the participants, okay, in trusting the company with their finances. Because without the functional, we still get to functional strategy. Without the functional strategy, there is no how the corporate strategy will stay. So organizations, they need to focus, okay, on their vision, okay, and be guided by the vision. So a corporate strategy will definitely do that. Okay, for example, I was trying to mention, I was trying to mention the, I was trying to mention the, uh, an example, which is a banking industry example. For example, we're looking at First Bank. First Bank at its inception, that's First Bank in Africa, something like that. It has its own vision, okay, and their vision right from inception has always been to provide banking services to people, and which they did, and they did excellently. And it got to a certain stage, technology came into being. At the initial stage, you could remember, First Bank was not into ATM services, but at a very certain stage, when this new generation bank, when they start coming in, First Bank had to level up. They didn't start ATM at that time, but as part of their vision is still rendering banking services for the whole of Africa. Now, I want us to see the standalone strategy in that scenario. The standalone strategy, as you have said, is developed outside the normal planning cycle in response to competitive developments. So a standalone strategy in the case of First Bank is in response to technology, to the changes in technology, which is now being used to disseminate information, which is now being used to for speedy transaction, banking transaction. So First Bank had to bring that in. Meanwhile, their vision is still to provide banking services at their best. But that issue of ATM services came into play. But meanwhile, don't forget, when you're talking about standalone, it's just our normal understanding of standalone. He's independent, he's on his own. Okay? And when he's on his own, that means it has to be catered of by the people that are bringing the vision. What am I trying to say? Fine, it has to be supported. That idea, that strategy must be supported by the top line managers in that corporation. But at the same time, it must survive itself. That's the issue of independence. Now, let's go on. Business strategy. Business strategy emphasizes on improving the competitive position of a company's products or services in a specific industry or market segment. There's something about this. When you're talking about business strategy, all these strategies, all these types of strategy, they are still encompassing. You see the way they are all integrated in the subsequent slides. But business strategy, its major focus is the products and services being rendered by the corporation. As an example, when you're talking about an organization that is involved in website creation, website development, the business strategy will focus on how to give its best in terms of color definition, the UCI, the design itself. And when you're talking about the services, for example, an organization that is into rendering some data facilities, the business strategy will focus on how they can provide it in their own best. It's not still a deviation from the vision, mind you, but all in the name of retaining their position in the competitive markets. Now, functional strategy. Functional strategy, as is rightly stated there, is concerned with developing a distinctive competence to provide a company or business unit with a competitive advantage. What makes a business to be functional is finances. Okay? So functional strategy, in its own real sense, must focus on how to work with business and the corporate strategy. Okay? In order for them, they will define the financial status, the financial capability, how they can have more in terms of finances, so that corporate strategy will come to play, so that business strategy will not fail in its own definition. Okay, well, you can just don't limit yourself to this, read widely. Now, look at the hierarchy, how they are all incorporated. At the corporate headquarters, the corporate strategy plays its role. Then you have the business strategy. Look at this. There are strategic business units. There are